This incident resulted in the forced retirement of a state police sergeant who was pulled over that night, and a top official at the agency admits this was a breakdown of professional standards at the state police. This is dashboard video from a state police cruiser in the early morning hours of March 23rd on 295 South in Cranston. A trooper responding to a 911 call after someone says they witnessed a pickup truck striking a barrier but keep going. The caller continued to follow the truck until state police arrived. You can see the truck swerve toward the median and over 2 lanes, then again into the breakdown lane before the trooper turns on his lights, pulling the driver over. The trooper's body-worn camera video shows him shine his light at the driver, then turns off the audio on his camera system. The driver is Nuno Vasconcelos, a state police sergeant with 20 years on the job. Court records show the trooper observed Vasconcelos slightly stumble and unsteady on his feet and detected a slight odor of an alcoholic beverage. Vasconcelos was told to sit in the passenger seat of the state police cruiser. When he was informed his truck would be towed from the scene, a police report shows Vasconcelos became agitated, telling them, "You aren't towing my expletive truck, and get in your expletive cruiser and follow me home. I'm going to drive in a straight line." You can see Sergeant Vasconcelos then gets back into his truck and drives away from troopers. Vasconcelos was never given a field sobriety test or charged that night with any crime after taking off from the scene. Lieutenant Colonel Robert Kramer tells Target 12, "We are disappointed with the response to the incident that night and the lack of appropriate guidance and supervision. It did not meet the expectations of the Rhode Island State Police." 5 days after the incident, an internal investigation was launched and Vasconcelos was placed on administrative leave. On May 5th, Colonel Darnell Weaver forced Vasconcelos to retire under a rarely used law that allows the colonel to move on from a trooper if they've been on the job for 20 years or more. Earlier this month, Vasconcelos was charged with 2 misdemeanors, reckless driving and obstructing an officer. He was not charged with drunk driving. The internal investigation also revealed he had been stopped the night before by troopers. Details of that incident were not released. Kramer says a supervisor working that night voluntarily retired in the wake of the incident. Vasconcelos pleaded not guilty this morning at his arraignment. His attorney, Ed Roy, says it was still too early in the case to comment. With the Target 12 investigators, Tim White, 12 News.
Good morning. Welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m. bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it. We are going to start it out in Yuba County. There's a lot of nuts out there in Yuba County. A lot of nut farmers, too. But this is a correctional officer who has been arrested for smuggling phones into jail. Okay, what was your first clue? He shows up with a cake every day. Marysville, California, a Yuba County Sheriff's Office correctional officer was arrested for allegedly smuggling contraband cell phones into the Yuba County jail. Okay. Not good, bro. And it says here that the Yuba County Sheriff's Office officials say that Officer Martin Plesios Lugo was taken into custody on Monday morning and was charged with bribery, criminal conspiracy, and possession of a wireless communication device in a correctional facility. The arrest followed an investigation by the Sheriff's Detectives Division and Problem-Oriented Policing Unit. The Problem-Oriented Policing Unit. I bet those guys are busy. Anyways, the investigation began on Thursday, July 24th, after unauthorized cell phones were found circulating among inmates. Officials say that a search of the facility uncovered 2 hidden cell phones, leading detectives to Plesios Lugos' involvement. Okay, alrighty. Upon his return to work, detectives executed a search warrant on Plesios Lugo and his vehicle, discovering 3 cell phones and over $2,000 in cash, as well as 2 birthday cakes. Just kidding, I made that up. Oh, you guys, quote, "I was saddened to learn about this betrayal of trust and disregard for the safety of our staff and those in our care," said the Yuba County Sheriff Wendell Anderson. Man, you done made him sad. Officer Martin Plesios Lugo made your boss sad. That's not going to end well. Anyways, officials added that Plesios Lugo resigned from the sheriff's office and the case remains under active investigation. That's all we know on Plesios Lugos. Okay, you guys are awesome. Thanks for being here. Let's move on with the show.
Gia, thank you. Also breaking tonight in just the last few hours, Channel 9 obtained this body cam video of a Longwood police officer who resigned during an internal investigation into this incident. The department confirming he violated multiple policies while responding to a 911 call involving a 17-year-old. Channel 9's Sabrina Majore breaks down this newly released video.
Sometimes things don't go your way in life. It sucks. Suck it up, get over it, do what you have to do.
What started as an attempt to set boundaries by former Longwood Corporal Virgil Quintal quickly evolved into something else entirely.
You want to fight me? Let's go.
Longwood police releasing this body camera video of the call at the center of the investigation, which led Quintal to resign.
I'm sick of coming like this with your.
On May 27th, the department said a teenager threatening to hurt himself was taken to a hospital for a Baker Act evaluation. We're not naming the teen and blurring his face to protect his privacy. But an investigation after this call found out on that day, Corporal Virgil Quintal broke 10 different Longwood police rules and procedures.
Let your hand off me.
You can see Quintal push the handcuffed teen's head against the police car.
Stop pushing back on me.
Then throwing the teen to the ground and putting his hand around the teen's neck.
Try it again. Try it again.
Another officer ultimately pushed Quintal's hand away. Longwood Police Chief David Dauda said Quintal appeared to be using physical force as punishment and verbally provoked the teen. This letter from the chief also says Quintal was dishonest on a police report about the incident.
I think this is an isolated incident that got out of hand.
The teen's mother telling us her son was not hurt during this confrontation and that she agrees with how the department's handled the case since. She believes Quintal failed to de-escalate the situation. Reporting in Longwood, Sabrina Majore, WFTV Tonight.
Okay, folks, we have ourselves a lady cop who's a bad apple. Imagine that. Red Springs police officer resigns after arrest on drug charges. Uh-oh, she's doing the walk of shame. She resigned after being arrested. What did she do, though? Oh, we just said what she did. Drug stuff. Lumberton, North Carolina, a Red Springs police officer has resigned after she was arrested for drug charges. Walk of shame. The Red Springs Police Department confirmed that Denisha Barfield, who was hired just last November in 2024, was employed as a police officer until July 25, 2025, when Barfield tendered her immediate resignation from the agency, according to Red Springs interim police chief Justin Hewitt. Oh, wonder why they have an interim police chief. Maybe there's a bad apple tree there in Lumberton. Officials at the Lumberton Police Department released information this week saying drugs were found inside her home last week and that they belonged to Barfield. Police say they found suspected cocaine, fentanyl, oxycodone, and U.S. currency in the home. What? What are you doing with U.S. currency, girl? Okay, Barfield was charged with felony possession of felony possession of Schedule I controlled substance, felony maintaining of dwelling for controlled substances. Oh, and 2 counts of misdemeanor child abuse. Dang, Barfield. She was released she released a statement. She said, I was forced to resign. I didn't do anything. I'm innocent. Whoa. Okay. The plot thickens. Police and Charles Sinclair, police said that Charles Sinclair was also arrested at the home. We don't know who Sinclair is, but Sinclair was wanted for conspiracy to sell and deliver and conspiracy to sell and deliver fentanyl, according to the police. During their search, officers said they found Sinclair inside the home, which police said belongs to Barfield. Sinclair faces the following charges: felony, all that kind of stuff. Listen. Okay, Sinclair has previously been charged multiple times by the Lumberton Police Department for various narcotics. Well, Barfield, you shouldn't have been hanging out with Sinclair. It's not looking so good for you. You made it on the Bad Apple Report. You lost your job. Okay. Thanks for being here, folks. Let's move on with the show.
FBI team now. A former Baton Rouge city constable arrested on domestic violence charges is now one of the newest recruits on the Baton Rouge police force.
Baton Rouge police confirmed Colby Burns started full-time this week with the department, leaving his alleged victim and her attorney stunned. Our chief investigator, Chris Nakamoto, spoke to them and has reaction from the district attorney's office about what happened to Burns' charges. Chris.
Good evening, Liz and Greg. It's well documented that Colby Burns was arrested for domestic violence with child endangerment back in 2021. But records pertaining to that arrest have seemingly vanished from the courthouse, which has left the victim and her lawyer wondering what happened, since they say they were never contacted about anything. For the past 6 years, Colby Burns has worked at the Baton Rouge City Constable's office. His Louisiana Peace Officer report shows he's completed all of his trainings and is still listed as an employee at the Constable's office. But the WAFBI team confirmed he quit that job recently and is now patrolling the streets of Baton Rouge as one of the city's newest officers.
Is this a good look to hire somebody like this?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're looking to have trust in people who we entrust with an infinite amount of power, right? But this sends the wrong message.
In 2021, Burns was arrested for domestic abuse battery with child endangerment. That arrest was made by the East Baton Rouge Parish Sheriff's Office after deputies responded to a home on a domestic violence call. Ryan Thompson is representing the woman Burns allegedly battered.
The allegation is that there was a domestic abuse allegation.
Despite the arrest of Burns, online court records show absolutely nothing when his name is searched. Thompson is concerned because he says his client was never consulted following Burns' arrest about the case.
No one from the prosecutor's office contacted my client to ask her what she thought about whether or not the case should proceed criminally.
The WAFBI team reached out to District Attorney Hiller Moore's office about Burns' charges that seemingly vanished and whether Burns will be put on a list that the DA's office must disclose to defendants. Moore typically does interviews with the news media, but was limited in what he could say pertaining to this case, issuing the following statement only. We are not in possession of any records subject to public access and cannot provide any further comment at this time.
I don't want to agree that he did something to be deserving of an expungement of an arrest. No one's saying anything, and that's what's really concerning for us. Was this just expunged? Did they decide not to prosecute?
It's quite possible the case was expunged if Burns entered into a pretrial diversion program. But by law, the DA's office cannot confirm if that happened. Thompson is now questioning whether BRPD was even aware of Burns' prior issues and believes this hire raises questions about the police department's hiring practices.
It is very concerning to me. The appearance is that if one wears a badge, that they're above the law, that they get some type of special treatment, that they get a different level of due process. And that's not what this is about.
The female in this case issued the following statement, quote, "It should never be this easy for a violent incident involving a sworn officer to be buried. It should never be this difficult for a victim to access the truth. And it should never be acceptable for a police department to quietly absorb someone with a known history of domestic violence and child endangerment." We asked if Baton Rouge police, if the administrators there were aware of Burns' prior arrest and who authorized his hiring. We're awaiting a response.
We got a mean-looking lady cop with this one. She is. The CMPD officer has been charged after allegedly threatening a woman, the police say. Well, she is mean, allegedly. She's damn sure mean-looking. A CMPD officer has been arrested, and another person is wanted for allegedly threatening a family member with a weapon. On Tuesday, July 29th, shortly after 7 p.m., officers responded to an assault with a deadly weapon with no injuries. Call for service. Oh, okay. The 911 caller reported being threatened by a woman who stated that a family member pointed a firearm at her and made additional threats. According to the court documents, CMPD officer Jasmine Featherstone, age 26, told the victim that she was going to F her up and reveal personal information about her because she's a police officer. Oh, Jasmine. All parties were interviewed by CMPD detectives. All of the conclusive interviews determined that Featherstone was arrested and she was charged with communicating threats. Officer Featherstone was off duty when the incident occurred. A warrant was also issued for somebody else. Blah, blah, blah. The criminal charge filed against Officer Featherstone is concerning. Oh, I can't believe I started reading this. Our department holds all officers to the highest standards of conduct on and off duty. All right. Well, your officer made it on the Bad Apple report, made CMPD look good on or off duty. Thank you so much for being here, folks. Let's move on.
A cop turned criminal, admitting to taking part in a corruption scheme. At least 8 so far have pleaded guilty in federal court. But what got them here in the first place? In at least one case we uncovered, one of those officers called his decision a professional courtesy. Take a look at what happened when a cop chose to cross the line.
Hello. How you doing tonight?
Former Albuquerque police officer Louis Hinkle III approaches a driver in Northeast Albuquerque in February 2019. A 23-year-old woman, he says, was speeding 12 miles an hour over the speed limit around 1 a.m.
Any alcohol tonight?
I have 1 drink. An open bottle of whiskey is under her seat.
All right. Have you step out real quick. Do some field sobriety tests.
The officer joined APD's DWI unit in 2017, so he should be familiar with the dangers of drunk driving and what it takes to keep drunk drivers off the road.
Put your feet together, hands down at your side.
After a series of tests you can't see being performed from his lapel camera,
1004, 1005, 1006.
The driver agrees to take a preliminary breath test.
So you're playing 1-3. So I'm going to place you under arrest for driving under the influence and intoxicating, liquor or drug. And I'm going to take you down for a calibrated breath test.
As the handcuffs go on, Hinkle drops some words of wisdom for his arrestee.
Life isn't always easy, but you know what? We make decisions in life, good or bad. We make decisions. And then there's consequences.
Consequences. It turns out a decision that officer later made in this case led him to break his oath to uphold the law. Today, he's facing his own consequences.
Good morning. We are here today for bench trial. Is the state ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
Audio records obtained by KRQE Investigates reveal the first time prosecutors tried to pursue a conviction against the accused drunk driver Hinkle arrested, August 2019, 6 months after the young woman's arrest.
The defense would ask for a defense continuance, and we would be willing to waive the rule.
A fill-in attorney says the main defense attorney is sick and asks for more time. Also missing is the main witness, Officer Hinkle. The judge agrees to postpone, and they're back in court 5 months later, January 2020.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Thomas Strickland III on behalf of the defendant.
Thomas Clear III is now representing the accused drunk driver. Behind the scenes, we now know Clear was asked to step in by an Albuquerque police officer who was, quote, romantically involved with the young DWI suspect.
We're here for trial setting. The state's necessary witness, Officer Hinkle, is not present. The officer check-in seems to indicate, I think he had some kind of, I don't know if it's an emergency, but he had another obligation. I personally didn't receive notice of this in advance. If not, I'd filed a motion to continue. It appears he's sick.
Sick. But today, Hinkle's federal guilty plea reveals he lied. Hinkle now tells the feds he agreed to call in sick that day as a, quote, professional courtesy to a fellow conspiring officer, the one romantically involved with the woman he arrested. Hinkle also admits to accepting a cash payment up to $500 to not appear for her trial. In fact, he says he was paid the equivalent of the overtime he missed out on for not attending court, knowing his absence would allow Clear to dismiss the case.
So we're respectfully going to request that the court dismiss the case at this time.
But once again, a judge agrees to postpone trial.
I'll grant the state's motion this one more time.
Fast forward 5 more months, June of 2020. In that time, prosecutors offered a plea.
Is that plea offer rejected or accepted? What are we doing on this one?
We're going to trial. Let's go.
And once again, the Metro Court judge sets another date for trial, warning prosecutors.
I'm really going to need you to reach out to your officers. We've been sending messages telling them they need to call in. You need to make sure that these officers know they have to appear in person for these definites, okay? Okay.
1 month later, July 2020, they're back in court, all except the state's key witness.
Your Honor, state is not ready for trial today. I spoke with Officer Hinkle. He has child care issues now on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And respectfully, Your Honor, we would oppose the state's request to continue this matter
even for one more time.
Clear points out the number of delays and the officers' no-shows.
That just seems to be patently unfair, and at this time we would ask the court to dismiss the case.
A frustrated judge says she won't postpone again.
This case is dismissed with prejudice. I'll fill out an order right now, and we're going to get you guys out of here, all right? Thank
Judge,
you.
it's wonderful to be in your presence.
Thank you, Mr. Clear. We'll see you later.
Behind the scenes, Hinkle now tells the feds he was conspiring with Clear's office, taking cash in exchange for a dismissal, a scheme Clear admits he's been running since the 90s. Another dismissal, another accused drunk driver with no consequences. Gabrielle Burkhart, KRQE Investigates.
Hinkle pleaded guilty to one count of conspiracy in federal court last month. His plea agreement states he was offered cash, restaurant gift cards, and free legal advice for the scheme. To date, none of the 8 law enforcement officers who've taken plea agreements have been sentenced.
All right, folks, that's it for the show. And thanks to all the bad apples out there that keep screwing up and giving us content every day. I know it's hard for us to stomach sometimes, but it's bringing us together, and that's a great thing. In this day and age, anything that can bring us all together is a good thing. So, bad apples are a good thing. And you guys being here every day is a really good thing. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. bright and early. Take it easy.